Hello, I'm Milo. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're all having a great day. This week, I'll be playing some more homebrew games. We're going back to the Commodore 64, which I haven't done in a while. I'm also streaming from my Mac for the first time in a while because I've been doing a lot of PC stuff. But yeah, I got the great Vice emulator on Mac for Commodore 64, so I'm going to be using it. But what's going on here? Trying to get my stream sorted out here. Play? Okay, that's working. And I'm not up to date. Oh, great. What's happening? Sorry. Trying to sort out the technical side of things over here. Still don't think it thinks I'm live. Anyway, yeah, so last time I played a bunch of 8-bit homebrew stuff, or, you know, last regular stream, we did do the co-op Jurassic War stream in between, which was a bit of fun. Is this working? Good lord. Okay, well, what if I do this? I don't know what's happening over here. Well, never mind. I'll just ignore having a second screen then. I don't get this. I'll try it again later. Anyway, so what we did last time was NES and Game Boy stuff. This time we're going across the pond, I guess, for, yeah, the Commodore 64. So I think it's, you know, it originates in America, but it was very popular in Europe and the UK. What we're focusing on today is the work of one guy, Carleton Handley, as well as a team of other people who assisted him. But they're all hosted on his itch page. I think, Gibbon, actually, you were the one who alerted me to this, but at one point he had a bundle sale on his Commodore 64 homebrews for sale on his itch page. A couple of ones I'm playing today are available for free, but otherwise they're relatively inexpensive, and they might be on sale again at some point. All of these were made between 2020 and 2021. I think it was you. Yeah, you might recognize some of the games I'm playing today, so why don't I get into them without any more adoings and froings. What am I? This one. Okay. So I'm going to be playing these in roughly chronological order for the three kind of platformers, and then we got some puzzle stuff after that. Given says, from a certain point of view, all Commodore 64 software is homebrew. It's true, a lot of it certainly was. So that, yeah, Carleton Handley is the main guy there. Okay. And Captain's also in chat. Hi, good to see you, buddy. Now, so this is Millie and Molly. This is a pretty good success story for Carleton and the team, actually. But I'll just... Well, let's go to credits first to see who that team is. Get some proper... Yeah. Based on... wait, I didn't know this top bit here. An original game by Yutaka Isokawa. I don't know. I haven't looked that up. Anyway, for all of these, Carleton Handley does the programming, but in this case, the level design is by Chunhwa Kong and Patsy Chim. Graphics by Saul Cross, a veteran of the Commodore 64 scene, as Carleton is himself. So Saul had another credit on Moby Games for Killing Machine, which looked pretty interesting. Hans Axelsson Svala, also apparently a veteran, although I couldn't find any listings for what he had worked on. Huh, I've got a different name written down here. Instead of Hans, it's Hasa, but maybe it's a variant name, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so let's get into it. There's, I think, 100 levels? Yeah. There's 100 levels in this. So, help Millie and Molly clear their world of the malicious monsters. I should say that I will probably not be playing all 100 levels, but some of them, I think a lot of them are pretty short. Monsters are killed by walking into them from the side. Don't fret, Millie and Molly can't die. They can fall from any height and even have items dropped onto their heads. To help you get at those hard-to-reach monsters, items can be pushed, ladders can be climbed, and dirt can be dug through. Millie and Molly can even use each other as platforms when they are in a level together. Now, here's a cool feature. Rewinding. This is a feature that's just in the game by default, and I'll show you how it works. So you walk around as Millie and Molly. It's grid-based movement, because this is very much a puzzle platformer. But by holding down the fire button, you can rewind, and you get this nice little tape effect over the screen as the character goes back through the actions that you did. And this can be rewound up to 650 steps, which is unlikely to come up with the size of these single screen levels. But there's an interesting kind of dev blog on the itch page for this game where Carleton explains how he managed implementing that feature on something that is running on a real Commodore 64. And he does recommend running these games on real hardware, although noting that they are also they are also playable on emulator, but he says that there may be issues sometimes with emulation. Okay. Looks like my live feed is working now, so that's a bit reassuring for me. Sometimes chat is a bit buggy on Twitch, so I like to have at least 2 sources showing me chat in case I miss anything. Yeah. So that's the gist of it. Now that I've explained that, I guess I'll just be playing this game until I feel like we need to move on for time reasons. But yeah, hopefully, obviously it's going to get, more tricky over time. You can't jump or anything, so your actions are pretty limited, which keeps things, constrained in from a design sense. No, there's no fall damage. That was noted in the intro scroll, Captain. That Millie Molly can't die and they can't fall to their deaths. They can't be crushed. So it's all nice. Okay, so this is the objects thing. Push them into gaps. These levels are just sort of easing you into the mechanics, I guess, before things really pick up. So yeah, I talked about how this game was a success story for the team after the itch release, where it's available right now for $3 US. They also released it on the Mac App Store, on smart devices, from which it's been delisted from Android, unfortunately. Oops, see, I've trapped myself here, but I have the rewind function. So I think our first move is to push this one down. So yeah, it was on Android, it's been delisted. You might still be able to find it somewhere through, approved means. But it is still on iOS, and it's also recently been released on Switch, which I think was a big deal for Carleton. Thanks to a publishing partner, he got a console release for it, which is nice. Let's see. I don't know how pushing 2 things at once works, so let's test that out. But yeah, the itch page is the only way to get... What do I do now then? It's the only way to get like the actual Commodore version that will run on Commodore machines or emulators itself. The other ports, they might have Commodore emulation under the hood, but yeah, they're just ports. I don't know. Did they say why it was delisted? That's a good question, Captain. I do not recall. There was a comment about it on the itch page for this, about it being delisted, but I don't remember if there was a reason why. Let's see if I can do this. Yeah, okay, so we can walk into a ladder climb. Okay, that explains that. Cool. Captain suggested that just as I did it, so thanks for that. Thanks to stream delay, you're a bit slow. So I can do this, and then go over there. Okay, let's see. So I think I should talk now about Carleton Handley's history as a game developer. His itch profile actually has a nice little biography about his history in the industry. Starting in 1987 and working on various titles. If you look up his profile on Moby Games, you can see some of the ones that he worked on. Wanderer is one he mentions as his first work, and that seems like a really interesting game. It's like a space exploration sim with vector graphics that also has different phases of gameplay, and the plot sounds pretty funny too. It's like a world where cats are the most important thing in the universe, and this guy's cat gets kidnapped and he has to venture across space to get it back. So that's funny. As a cat lover, I approve. Oh, are these teddy bears enemies? It was mentioned in the opening that you walk into enemies to kill them, and I figured they were like collectibles that I was finding, but maybe these are the baddies, the bad teddies that are alive and out to get me. So this is a Conquer prequel, I guess, with the evil teddies. Okay, cool. Good to know. Oh, no, I can't do that. That'll have to be the last one I get. Thank goodness for that rewind. I really like that. I do have access to save states in the emulator, but I don't have to use them in this game because of the handy dandy rewind feature. Yeah, so Wanderer is one he mentioned. He also did Skull and Crossbones, a pirate-themed fighting game. And the earliest listed title, or released title, on there, was a licensed game for Spitting Image, which if you're not from the UK, you might not have heard of, or familiar with UK culture of the 80s and 90s. Spitting Image was a current events political satire puppet show on television, and it heavily relied on the vocal impersonation talents of Chris Barry of Red Dwarf fame to impersonate various political figures like Margaret Thatcher. This is her era, and she was often and rightly lampooned by the show, as well as, Ronald Reagan, things like this. So these are also the playable characters in the game. So the Spitting Image game is a fighting game where you pick one of these world leaders. I fall down and then walk onto the block and then walk into that thing from the side. What is this thing? I thought it was a spaceship. Maybe it's a bat that's hanging upside down. Yeah, I'm gonna go with bat. Yeah, so in Spitting Image you can play as Margaret Thatcher, you can play as Ayatollah Khomeini, Pope John Paul II, things like this. It sounds pretty interesting. Okay, so I think I want to move this so that I can push that other one down onto it and then walk across to the bat. And yeah, he was responsible for programming the Commodore 64 version of that. What's going on here? I can't dig down, so I've made a mistake. The other good thing about the inbuilt rewind function is that the music just keeps going, which is nice because it's lovely and chill. So you can enjoy it uninterrupted, even if you're reversing your mistakes. Now we haven't seen Molly yet in the game, but Millie has a very cute sprite, and I appreciate that. Okay. What else did he do? So after Skull and Crossbones, he worked on a lot of sports games, not just on the Commodore 64, but continuing into different eras and different platforms. A blast from my past came up when I was looking through his games list. He worked on, this is not going to mean anything to anyone except me, but he worked on World Cup 98, the FIFA... It is FIFA, right? Yeah, the Soccer World Cup. The official game for that, the Nintendo 64 version, which is one of the games that we had in our small library at home. So I'm very familiar with that game. I've played it a lot. So we push that one there to get that, and then that. But, oops, okay. And then we move back so we can push it over here. Oh, wait. I need to get up on it. I guess I need to deal with that bat before going to the left. Okay. So yeah, seeing his name listed for that was pretty mind-blowing for me. For EA Sports at the time. It was good. It had like commentary. It had you could turn down the referee's vigilance and then do the intentional foul button to just like slide tackle into people willy-nilly. It was pretty cool. And you could like kick a ball and stuff. How do I do this? The order of things. I guess I'll restart this one. So you hit F1 to go to this menu on the side. Restart the level. Can I walk into the bat from the ladder? Oh, that's a good point. Yes. There you go. That's that out of the way. That does help a lot. And then I do this. Oops. Now I gotta push that one down first. So I can walk on it afterwards. Yeah, thanks, Captain. Doing some co-op puzzle solving here. This is good. Great little game. So I did get all these on sale. It was about like $5 or something for 3 games that not ordinarily wage $3 US dollars. Might have been 6. Yeah, $6 I think for the lot. A savings of 33%. Approximately. Okay, so knock this out so I can move that over. And go around and do it again. Yeah. Oops. Oh, I can still do this. I kind of wish there was also a fast forward button, but you know, that's just me, impatient modern gamer. It's all good. Okay, so now if I do this, I can push... Oh. No, because it immediately falls down. How do I solve that? Because if I do that, that's no good. Huh. I'll do that last. Yeah, that makes sense. The one kind of get out of problem free card you have is you can do it in a different order. There you go. Brain teasers. I do enjoy games like this. I usually stream more action focused stuff, but yeah, these are good too. Tricky. How do you get the ones at the top? Ah, you leave that bare. That's how you do it. Sorry, just checking my notes. That's all the notes I had for this particular game. So now we can just play some chill puzzles. Alright, so I do this, that falls down, and then I hit that, and then I hit that, and then I hit... Oh. So I can do that, and then... But then I can't. Oh boy. Level 20 is where things kick off, so to speak. This is the problem with playing a puzzle game on stream, is I inevitably just embarrass myself. And then there's a lot of just umming and ahhing and nothing much happening. So that's why I'm not going to play all 100 levels of this. Also, it'll take too long. Yeah. I don't know how to get that one back. Let's try something out on the other side. So something I overlooked, I think, is that you can just get down from the bottom at any time and go back up. It's like I can easily get one or the other. You know? Okay, see you later, Captain. Thanks for stopping by. Gibbon is getting Boulder Dash mixed with Lode Runner vibes from this, which, yeah, definitely part of that lineage, I would say. Where it's just very focused on the blocks of the level and changing them to defeat the enemies, yeah. The digging concept is very much Boulder Dash inspired, perhaps. I don't get it. Get the top bats first and work my way down, Captain recommends. Yeah, you're probably right. But how do I get this one? I could take that one out, but then no good. And I can't push the rock further over so that it lands in the middle. I can't even get back to the middle. Oh, I can. Alright, well, do a bit of rewinding. Let me see. So this is the first thing you need to do, unless you get rid of that dirt patch there. You can't push that over. At all. Ever, because you need to get rid of it to then dig that. Dig a pony. Because moving through a monster automatically puts you into that space. And you fall straight down. Maybe we can work something out. What puzzle game was I playing recently? Like, as soon as things got a little bit tricky, I just started having to look up solutions. I don't know what it was. Fiendish. Yeah, I don't get it. Maybe I'm gonna give up right now. Well, I can save my state here. We'll play some of the other games and we can come back to this if we decide we want to. Oh, I think I've got a tiny line of pixels on my setup here. Let me adjust the screen capture. Whoops. Oh boy. If I do that, much better. No more half line of grey. Okay, so that's cool. Millie Molly. Very tricky little puzzle platformer. We only got to see Millie in this one. Apparently, Millie Molly can stand on each other's heads, so there might be levels later on where the two of them are in it together, which would be pretty interesting. But I'm going to move on to another of Carleton's games now. I believe he did this next one by himself without any collaborators, because it was done for a little contest, and is otherwise bare bones. So what I'm going to play now is Blockheads 4K. So Millie Molly was February 2020. This was released in July of 2020. Oh no, there was a collaborator here. Graphics by Monsters Go Boom. So there's a 2-player mode with a split screen, but we're going to do 1-player mode. There's only 5 levels because it was made for a small contest. The Reset64 4K competition, a contest to make games that were less than 4 kilobytes in size, or no more than. And I've already played this level, so I know what to do. But as you can see, it's a kind of one of those difficult puzzle platformers. Not puzzle. Action? I don't know. Carleton mentions specifically Super Meat Boy and Celeste as inspirations for this, and I think you can see that. You can see where that's coming from. This small arena, lots of spikes, tricky jumps to pull off. The player character is just kind of a square smiley face, which is cute. Reminds me kind of the ZZT player character. Gonna turn it up even though there's not music, just some sounds for jumping and stuff. Oops. So back and forth. The thing is, I've played a lot of Super Meat Boy, and it's what's going on there? I do have turbo set up, so if I want to do like quick consecutive wall jumps, I'm able to use the turbo function. See, I'm holding turbo right now. Yeah. So for something made in and fits within just 4 kilobytes, it's very cool, and that's part of the contest, is making something compelling within that limitation. Yeah, I got the turbo, I can do it if I need to. Yeah, so like the wall jumping timing is different from Super Meat Boy, which is throwing me off, is what I was saying. Okay, so we're past that. I wonder if I should even make save states, but no. There's only 5 levels, I'm just going to do them. There we go. I've almost finished I Want to Be the Guy as well, so I've got pride almost. Like, I don't know if I've ever told this story, but it was one of the early things when I first got a laptop, and I was like, what are some cool freeware games out there that me, a poor student, does not have to pay to play? And Cave Story was one of them. N was one of them. And I Want to Be the Guy, and emulators, of course. That's when I started emulating like RPGs hardcore. And yeah, that's when I played I Want to Be the Guy all the way through until the final boss, and I kind of gave up. And I was doing some research just recently about it, and it's been kind of remade in a new engine that's a bit less buggy than Macromedia Flash and is more compatible with modern systems. So I'm thinking of revisiting I Want to Be the Guy sometime soon. Probably not on stream because it's going to look a lot like this, me just failing over and over again. I could play the sequel though. Cayenne made a follow-up for a games event for someone to play live that had a couple extra mechanics. Okay. And at some point I want to play a bit of Super Meat Boy at various times because of the guest characters. So sometimes I want to play, oh, that one was a bit more easy. Sometimes I want to play a game and then also check out that character's appearance in Super Meat Boy. Like Aquaria, for example, which is a great game I've showed off briefly on stream during a Mermaid showcase. Naja is playable in Super Meat Boy and is actually the preferred choice for high-level speedrunners because she's got this mid-air like dash move, and you can exploit that in the physics system to do some pretty wacky stuff. Yeah, pretty cool. What else can I say about this one? Oh, compressed. Important to note, the 4 kilobytes includes compression. Ding. What else? This one's free. That's just a little mini game made for an event. Carleton's not charging for this one. Okay, what's going on here? There's a minimum jump height. Yeah, you got to sort of jump and then on the fall down, move over like that. Perfect. Oh boy. This one takes some precision. But I love this stuff. I haven't played Celeste yet, but it's on my list. I'm going to get to it. Including the original Pico 8 version that the creator did before turning it into a full-fledged game, and then the follow-up Pico 8 one that she did, where like Celeste 2 exists, but only as a Pico 8 version, which is kind of fun. Okay, oh, that's close. What do I got to do now? Like this? No. My brain didn't work fast enough. Okay. That's all right. And of course, there's the timer ever present, judging you, so you can compare scores with other people. Oh, okay. Oh, that was so close, but I did it. That's all 5 levels of Blockheads. So there's also different difficulty levels, so you can play on casual to remove all the spikes. And apparently the keys are there for some reason. That's interesting. How do I go back now? I don't know how to go back now. I'll beat the level. So that's cute. Adding some options. Oh, you need to get all the keys. Okay. But wall jumping is your friend. So as well as casual, there's crazed for a more difficult experience where the spikes are there, but you also need to get all the keys to beat the level, which is just adds just that much more difficulty. Ta-da! All right. How do I go back? I might have to just reset the machine. Ooh. Nice screen. Okay, I have to actually load the disk again. The good thing about Vice these days, I don't know if it did this last time I played, but it automatically goes into warp mode during a loading screen. I like that. Okay. Yeah, so these are unique levels. I might as well play them. Get that new experience. But you're supposed to be able to race against player 2 to do the same level. Oh. See, I accidentally picked the same level again. Never mind. The good old garbage data screen says given. Oh, I did it again. I'm so dumb. Hold on. Okay. This time we're going to play level 2. Hello, Midna. Gonna wash your bum? That's a good thing to do. Get clean. Oh, Min is my cat, by the way. Oh. See, these levels have their own unique challenge. Fit into a smaller portion of the screen. That's very cute. Okay. Nope. Gotta start moving on the downswing. Like so. Yes, very good. It's me versus nobody. Yeah. This could be very exciting and tense with both players. As long as they're at similar skill levels. Making mistakes, having to start again. I can see that being very cool. I'll do it. I'll do it. No. It's okay. I have plenty of time since I gave up on Millie Molly. Oh boy. Sorry, Carleton. There we go. Oh boy. That wasn't so bad. But yeah, the point of a lot of these is the race aspect. Oh gosh. I think that's a peewee. Well, it's gotten Midna's interest. She's been watching birds all day. Typical cat behavior. Yep. I did close the front door, which was the main vector for bird viewing, because somebody was using a leaf blower. Notoriously noisy devices. In fact, they're among the highest decibel levels that a person is likely to encounter is the operator of a leaf blower, since they're close up to it. Can be very damaging. That's why the electric leaf blowers are so cool. They also don't use petrol, which is inherently not a great thing. Alright, well, I guess that's all the levels of Blockheads 4K. Very cute little thing. You can grab that for free. Try it with a friend. I don't know what the... Oh, I guess you'd need to set up a 2-player controls in the emulator settings. I had a bit of a problem with controls. It was a whole thing. Actually, that's going to come into the next game. My control issues caused me a lot of frustration with this next game for a while until I got them sorted out. Part of that was this Mac that I'm playing on is relatively new to me. I had an older computer that everything was fine on. I knew what I was doing with it. I had everything set up for like streaming. The new operating system doesn't support the controller to keyboard mapping software that I was using, and it also doesn't support the DualShock 3 that I was using, so I had to change everything, and I hate change. Who doesn't? Anyway, I couldn't find a good... basically, I wanted to be able to save and load state in this game, which requires Shift Command S and O as a quick shortcut. And if I can map that onto the buttons on a controller, it's just incredibly simple. Much easier for me to get through action games like this. But the alternative keyboard mapping software that I could find didn't support a controller button hitting more than one keyboard key at a time, which you would think, not just for gaming, but for accessibility, people who use these programs to hit complicated keyboard shortcuts if they're unable to do them normally. Yeah, big problem. And there was no software I could find that could do it. So who swept in to save my life but my lovely spouse, Kathy, who is a programmer by trade. She took the, I guess, popular keyboard mapper for Mac, Enjoyable, and she wrote her own fork of it, thanks to its open GitHub repository, using Objective-C, which she hasn't used in a while, so she said it was a fun challenge. and she made a personalized fork of Enjoyable just for me so that I could use it to get my controller to do more than one button at a time. How cool is that? I'm married to the best person in the world. Alright. But this game is Run and Gun. This is another of Carleton Handley's Commodore 64 homebrews, published in January of 2021. Actually, yeah, what is this? This is just help. Yeah, so there's like 2 different control methods. I'll talk about that as we go. But there's 2 characters you play as that we saw on that screen. Actually, what I'll do is read the kind of plot summary that's on the itch page. To get the background of the game. Oh, where did I put... Oh, it's not here. Okay, I'll just find it. You can enjoy this music in the meantime. Yeah, very cool music. So this one doesn't have credits. Oh, there you go. It's actually cycled through to the plot in there, but I'll read it from the page anyway because it's more reliable, I guess. Wilhelmina Willie Runn and Wallace Wally Gunn were 2 run-of-the-mill infantry until an army experiment went seriously wrong and fused their bodies into one super soldier. The military covered up the accident by drafting the pair into Commodore 64, which stands for Commandos on Military Missions, Ominously Dangerous, Often Requiring Extermination. This elite squad is made up of 64 of the best soldiers on the planet. Oh, I love these screens. Just the cast list and everything. We had the credits there too, but I just missed them, so I'll wait for that to cycle back. They're sent on missions to the far reaches of the galaxy to quell alien threats before they can ever reach Earth. Their next mission is to the planet Bantaya, where a terrible life form is planning an assault on our home planet. Take control of both, graphics and music by Saul Cross, programming and design by Carleton Handley. Lovely. So it's another collaboration with Saul. And yeah, good stuff. So you take control of both Run and Gun and tackle this mission, etc., etc. Okay. So there's a lot of comments on this game talking about the control scheme and different things about it. There's also a speedrun video that someone did just by pointing a camera at their screen with their joystick hand in the frame, which I thought was a really fun way of doing it, as well as getting the authentic CRT look for the game itself. Yeah, let's get into it so I can explain it. So the whole fused into one body thing is this. By holding down at any time, you swap between Run and Gun. Run is better at the platforming. She can double jump. Gun is better at the shooting. His gun is more powerful and the bullets travel further. So Run can still shoot, but as you can see, she doesn't have this much of a range there. So yeah, you have to switch between them for the situation. The controls use the basic 1-button joystick of the Commodore. Whoops. Which means that shoot is actually mapped to up and fire is mapped to jump. Now some people sort of didn't like this, but it's an option in the settings to to swap between them. So you can change it so the fire is shoot and jump is up, which I think some people are more used to, but I'm playing it the way it's intended now, which some commenters agreed was it was a clever control scheme that once you get used to it, you really appreciate it. So I'm taking that spirit and gonna play it with the default control scheme and see how I go. But yeah, I think it's really cool. Taking a limited input device with the joystick and making a fairly complex control scheme out of it. Yeah, I think it's really cool. basically. Also, this soundtrack is a real banger. I love it a lot. So good on Soul. Cross there. Was it Cross? Yeah, Cross. Okay, since this is a straight corridor with just some enemies, we can swap to Gunn. Or Wally. Oops. And now that we got that key from the room in there, you can use it on this terminal to let down the barrier. And now there's platforming. Ah! Okay, this ain't going well. My shield is dwindling. Did I mention... So I mentioned that speedrun. Did I say that it's done in 6 minutes? So I won't be here... I'll be here a bit longer than that, given how I'm playing, but let's try out that save state function. Boom. Yeah, I did that just with my shoulder buttons. Feels great. So thanks very much to Kathy for that. Oh yeah, that's great. Alright, cool. So now I don't have to worry about game overs. Although I'm curious what happens when you game over. So when you lose that life, it puts you back on the same screen, or at least at a checkpoint or something, which is nice. But what about a game over? I'm curious. Another recommended setting that Carleton mentions in the comments on the itch page. Okay, so we have a credit system, which does put you back on the same screen again, but it means that you're going to, yeah, run out of continues at some point. So I will continue using my save states because I'm not playing this as a hardcore challenge. I'm just trying to have some fun. There were difficulty settings as well for this one, and the harder mode has unique enemies. I was watching the hard mode speedrun, and there's some screens where you have kind of a... How shall I put this? If you've played Rayman, there's levels where Mr. Dark follows you, and so you have an enemy mimicking your every motion, so you have to be wary of your movements and where you stop and where you go. So that was pretty cool. And there's other enemies added with different mechanics added in the hard mode as well. Okay. But yeah, I'm just playing on normal. Okay, these ones are invincible. Just have to get around them. Ooh, ooh, ooh boy. Cool stuff. Whoa. Nuts. I'm gonna load state, because I don't care. I'm one hit from death, so... That's happening a lot. It's alright. And there's... Oh, okay, we do have that little guy. Okay, cool. Yeah, I wondered if that would come up. So I don't know what the extra hard mode enemy is then, because this is the one that's following me around and mimicking my motions. Oops. I'll take that death. Get my shields back for a buffer. That's nice. Come on, fireball. Oh boy, I waited too long. Yeah, you can sneak in ahead of that. I keep thinking that I've got like button 2 set up for shoot, and I don't. So up to shoot is still tripping me up a little bit, but that's cool. Oh boy. Okay. Got someone new in chat. Ah! Sorry. This is rough. This little robot's following me and I'm really scared. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Oh, okay. Ah! Curses. Alright, cool. We passed that screen. So, we're gonna lose 2 in chat is saying, hello mate, hello, good to see you. Do I know you from somewhere? I feel like I have to ask this a lot because people come in and their screen names aren't the same as what I know them by, so just checking. This one can be killed. I feel like I've got spoilers thanks to that hard mode speedrun, but you know, it's fine. Gun's probably the way to go here. Yeah, take that. Run also runs faster. There you go. Here for the first time. Oh well, happy to have you. Ah! Enjoy. This is a Commodore 64 homebrew by Carleton Handley called Run and Gunn. It's relatively short, but has some nice little mechanics, and also it's made really well. Like, there's no sprite flicker or anything. It just is really well done. Whoops. Oh yeah, I can't use that because I need to get the keycard from in here. Okay, I'm going to be relying a bit more heavily on save states right now. Cool. Nice. We're going to lose. Just searching Twitch for Commodore 64 and I was the second one that came up. That's cute. That's cool. I don't play C64 that much, but I don't know, I've kind of figured out the emulation for it now, so I might be playing more of it. But I have every now and then popped it on in the past. I played, what was it, Cat on the Tiles or something. A number of games over the years. Okay, hi Kathy. I was just telling everyone how good you were at programming this controller mapping thing. She even created a fork of it on GitHub, so if you know what you're doing, you can download and compile the code that she made, although she obviously does not guarantee support or documentation or commenting in the code or anything. Ah! Dang. I should save state more often with my handy dandy buttons. When you're doing well, you don't think of it, you know? The first channel on Twitch under Commodore 64 is the C64 radio that's streaming SIDS. That sounds really cool. Not gameplay, obviously, but there's a heck of a lot of good tunes on the C64 for sure. And this is one of them, although it is a modern homebrew. It is interesting, like this is possible on a C64 machine, so people could have been making games like this back in the day if circumstances had allowed, but yeah, I don't know, like what it is that people seem to make so much more polished works now when they're going back to them than what was commercially released back then. I don't know what the reasons are for that. Commercial pressures, advancement of skills, new tricks, I don't know. I'm not a game developer, clearly. There we go. Oh, Slay Radio. I don't know that one. Why do you prefer that to this other C64 radio? Ooh. What other Commodore games have I played on stream before? I played Mrs. Mop. I think I played Mermaid Madness on C64 because I played it on a couple of different platforms. Sometimes I do these compilation streams where I play a lot of games in a row. Whether it be games for these home computer platforms that were made by women. I do that sometimes, focusing on different kinds of protagonists, whether it be heroines or animals sometimes. So these are the times that most come to mind when I think about the Commodore games that I've played. Whoa, boy. So if you save while you're moving, the save state kind of remembers that you had that button pressed down, but it does fix itself if you do another input, which is nice. Alright. Oh, okay, so Slay64's remixes, that's cool, and hosts. So it's more like a real radio show. That sounds fun. And sometimes what you get is, with compositions from this era, is the composition itself is like better than what the machine sounds like, if you see what I mean. Like sometimes they're very well suited to the chiptune format, and they sound just as good now as they ever did. But remixes can be really cool when like an ambitious composition wasn't quite like everything that it could have been, thanks to the limitations of the hardware. Okay. One of the hosts on Slay Radio is from Straya. That's cool. Glad to hear it. We must have had the C64 here. It's a bit before my time, so I couldn't tell you for sure. Alright, I think avoiding these things is a bit of a... Whoa, it's tricky. So maybe we'll try out Gunn and try and defeat them on our way through. I've been using Runn a lot more. For agile playstyle, I think is more fun and more well suited to some of the challenges, but... Oh, what? That was weird. I swear it didn't move, but the sprites just intersected at some point. For some reason. Oops. Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. Okay, just clear that thing. Yep. Okay. Ha 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 ha. Yes, progress. Let's go. We're doing well. Oops. Just waiting for that fireball. Okay. Oh yeah, Mule, sure. I definitely played Mule on a stream a little bit. It was a bit much for me, especially coming at the end of a long stream. But yeah, I've been recently playing the Mule-niverse games by John Vanderhoof, which are expanding on the world of Mule in different genres on the NES, which has been really interesting. But yeah, Gibbons pointing out that Mule, of course, had really good music to it, proving that, well, yeah, as she says, shows that the system can get good music, and we are going to lose. Mentions Commando as an example. Alright, so this one is swapping between the two. What's going on here? So that... Was I doing damage there? Ah, okay. The cannon is where you want to hit. And now I've taken out the sled? Okay, cool. This is like the Doom Hunters in Eternal. Take out the sled. Okay, well, how do I avoid that exactly? I guess double jumping off to the left with Runn, but yeah, and then I can swap to Gunn a bit later. So yeah, we'll just avoid this attack at first. Like so. Nope, that didn't work. I guess I could jump over it. And then again, yeah, I'll try that. Aztec? Oh, I'm going to play Aztec Challenge, yeah. I'm going to do that. We talked about that a while ago, and since you brought it up, I've had it on my list. Oh, it rolls and then it jumps, okay. So I take that out, Now the fireballs, and just slide under. Okay, what do I do to hit him? Ah! Using up my shields just for a few measly hits. Oh, that's rough. I'll use my continue. I'll play this normally for a bit before getting back into save state land. If I finally game over. Okay. Oh, Bobbinator's here. Hi, Bob. How's it going? Sorry, this is just like really tense right now. I think this is the final boss. Ah! I'm not doing well. So how do I hurt this guy? Probably shooting the eyes. It's got to be the eyes. But, like, it actually turns around when you pass it. Okay, so Bob says, what game is this and where do you get it? I'm just going to hit F1 just to pause for a second. This game is Runn and Gunn by Carleton Handley. You can get it from Carleton Handley's itch page. Runn and Gunn are both spelled with 2 N's, and Carleton is spelled with an E in the middle. Yeah, he's a veteran developer for the C64 from the 80s who is now doing these homebrew C64 games and releasing them on itch for a few bucks. So that's really cool. Yeah. Gibbon mentioned Aztec Challenge. It's a very graphically impressive C64 game. So yeah, that's one that's really interesting. It's got a lot of different gameplay phases. Yeah, I really want to try that. We're Gonna Lose brings up Mayhem in Wonderland or possibly Monsterland. They can't remember. So yeah, we're getting some recommendations. When I'm done with this, I think I'll have a quick look at my spreadsheet and remind myself of what C64 games I've done on stream before that I could recommend. Okay, so I took some hits there. We're just gonna do our best here. I'll stick us Run because getting past the boss is more important, and swapping takes a second or two. And if I'm on the run the whole time, it's going to be simpler to just... Yep, okay. So I can take out the sled before he does the initial charge. That works. Whoops. Oh no. Missed the jump, fell right into that pit of acid or whatever. Probably lava. It's got that orange color. That's a very Commodore 64 color. If you're familiar with the system, all of these colors are going to be ringing your bells, I'm sure. Just because that's what the system does. But I think, yeah, like they made good choices on how to use those colors to make nice sprites out of them. I really like the animation in Runn's sprite, particularly with her hair flopping up and down. I like that a lot. Oof, it's going rough. Okay, we got this. Ah, that was foolish. I could barely get a hit in without also taking a hit. Maybe it's best to use some invincibility to get some hits in. You can see the boss's color was actually changing over time there. So I was doing damage, which had a recognizable effect, which is always good, giving the player feedback like that. Ah. Okay, so what I'm going to do is a little... Nope, that's not going to work. I need a better vantage point. Like this. Get up here, swap. See, it just takes a little bit and then... And it turned red, but yeah, by that point, it was too late for me. So Bob, before this I've just played Millie and Molly, which was a really cool puzzle platformer. Although I got stuck on level 20, which is where the game really actually starts, 20 out of 100. And I also played Blockheads, which was just a little experimental event game that the challenge was to make it a game that was less than 4 kilobytes, and he made a kind of Super Meat Boy style platformer. Ah, that was foolish. Didn't have to take that hit. Okay, so I'm gonna do my plan, my iframes plan. So I get up here, I swap, and then I just unload Yeah, I took too many hits. That wasn't great. Ah, what was that? I think I ran into the barrier. Okay. So when I run out of continues, I'm going to come back and start save stating within the fight because I'm a big cheater and I don't care. This is rough. By the way, the hard mode speedrun that I mentioned that's linked on the itch page, which is done in 6 minutes, is also a no-hit run. So they do the whole level, the whole game without ever once being hit. And by the way, you press up to shoot, so that's just tricky. It's part of the design though, which I think is interesting. It makes it harder to run and shoot at the same time. But yeah, I just see that as an interesting design choice. Oops. Putting a limit on your actions like that. Alright, so better to make a state after that death when I have a full set of lives. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to be stating when I can. Any more Commodore 64 recommendations from the chatters? I'll look up my own notable ones after this. Oh yeah, okay. That's a pattern. Got a bit of a pattern down here, which lets me get a couple of shots off, and then yeah, okay, that's cool. Ah, gotta time it a little better. Okay, well I'm successfully not taking hits right now, which is good. So I say. Okay. Dang. We're Gonna Lose says that for them, music in the games on Commodore 64 was the most important thing. Given mentioning possibly a Mission Impossible game, hard to remember. Yeah, cool. Graphics was secondary to We're Gonna Lose. Oh yeah, nice. For me, I would say gameplay is probably the most important. Like, being the generation I am, which is after the Commodore 64, the graphics are not going to wow me unless I can take a step back and appreciate it as a product of the time and the limitations, which I am able to do now as a more mature person. And music, I don't usually put much stock in games, sorry to say. That's just my style. Oh, I'm doing quite well. Oh, until I took that hit. I'll save state anyway. I've got 2 more hits till death because you can survive without any shield. There we go. Ah. Whoops. But I do really like the graphics here. You know what this reminds me of, actually, is Rex. That's one... Oh, no, that wasn't on C64. I played that on an Anachronistic Dinosaurs stream. Along with Dino City and something else. But that was actually on the Spectrum and the Amiga, I think. Where the Spectrum one looked worse, but played a lot better because it was a lot smoother. The Amiga one had more detailed graphics, but ran slower, and that's like a classic trade-off in which I would prefer the smoother playing one. Hey! Boss down. Congratulations! The Bantayan menace has been defeated. Whilst the planet of Bantaya explodes beneath them, Runn and Gunn return to Earth to await their next orders. Mission time 11.5 minutes, with save states. Now try defeating Tricky Mode. There are more enemies and they're faster and stronger. Shall we do a little preview of that? Tricky. Oh, tricky and hard is harder than tricky, I guess, so just have a quick sticky beak. Looks the same so far. Well, I guess as you progress, there will be more differences. Okay, that's definitely more enemies there. Oh! Also, I only had 1 shield. Or no, did I lose some before? Yeah, I must have lost some. Same amount of shield. Just get to the first keycard room and see what the changes are. That's the same. I don't know what's going on. Anyway. We're going to lose also mentioning Supremacy, Gordian Tomb, and Flimbo's Quest. And Given brings up Zork, which of course, classic. Text adventure, yes. I'm just going to have a quick look at my list of all the games I've streamed that I keep on a spreadsheet, which is over here. Starting in 2016. Actually, maybe I should just search. How do you search on mobile numbers? Oh boy. C64. No results? There are definitely results. There we go. Okay, it didn't work. Well, I played the Great Gianna Sisters. That was a good one, of course. But you should know all about that, and there's better ways to play it these days. Follow-ups. I like the DS installment of that a lot, actually. So I did a bunch of them in one go. I mentioned Mrs. Mop, which was a top-down, like, janitorial simulator. Bionic Granny was another top-down one where you had to fight off an evil lollipop lady. It was a bit bare bones. Mad Nurse is really interesting. You gotta manage babies so they don't end up getting themselves in accidents in a little nursing hospital. Pretty cool. Cauldron is fun. You have to explore this huge world as a witch. Big open world. Mermaid Madness, I mentioned, another exploration one that's really cool. Undersea exploration. Bride of Frankenstein. I didn't spend too long on, but yeah, it was very hard. That was a whole lot that I did in one go. So later on that year I played Bird Mother. I recall liking that. It's sort of a season by season like bird simulation game with single screen challenges. It was pretty cool. Beaky and the Eggs, which is kind of a joust kind of thing. It was okay. Mama Llama, one of Jeff Minter's games, with all that entails with that, of course. So that's probably pretty cool. Yeah, so for the cat stream, I played Alley Cat. That was a good one. A little platformer. Very difficult, but I like the little sprites in it. Caesar the Cat, that was okay. Tales of the Cat. I don't remember what that one was. But On the Tiles was pretty cool too. There's a big scrolling world where you're jumping on rooftops as a cat. That was pretty cool. Had some simulation aspects to it. Yeah, any cat game on the C64 is great, actually. Okay, that's what's sticking out for me. Oh, that's right. Late last year I played Horror City, a gallery shooter, which was clearly intended to be a Judge Dredd game, but they lost the license during development. So they swapped out all the names and just kept going. Very difficult, but interesting. Ooh. Bob has suggested Turbocharge. It's basically just Special Criminal Investigation, but I like it, he says. Yeah, okay. Well, I don't know either of those games by name, so yeah. Yeah, in fact, a lot of the games that have been mentioned I have never heard of, so that's good. It's always good to expand your horizons. Alley Cat like in the Hanna-Barbera cartoon. I don't think it's a licensed one, no, but and yeah, I think the animals were rendered a bit more realistically in that. But sure, it's Hanna-Barbera. No, it's not. Okay, now that I've completed Run and Gun, the next thing on the list from Carleton Handley is not a platformer. It's looking like I have time if I want to go back to Millie Molly, but I don't want to just stare at that puzzle screen for ages and not get anywhere. I don't think that's very compelling viewing. So what I'm going to do instead is play a bit of Grid Pix. This caught my eye instantly when I saw it in the bundle because I love Picross. I've played almost every game that Jupiter put out on the DS and 3DS in their Picross series, as well as some other companies doing, the same nonogram puzzles. Especially on DS and 3DS, I find the control scheme really great to use on that. But this is a bit of a different control scheme because we've only got one button for fire and the directions. The sort of logos that came out before this were responsible for publishing this physically. You can get this on a cartridge for Commodore 64, although I think it's sold out now, so you can't. But you can still get it digitally from Itch.io for $3 US. As well as Grid Pix Advent, a Christmas-themed spin-off. So this has 100 puzzles. The Advent one is 24. That's an Advent calendar. It was published in August 2020 for this one. The description also mentions potential DLC packs, but I don't think anything eventuated from that. Grid Pix Advent is a separate release. Yeah, and let me see. I'll just go to the credits to see who worked on it. Program design Carleton Handley. He mentions in an Itch blog post that he originally started by importing puzzles from Mario's Picross on the Game Boy and testing the engine for the C64 and getting that worked out, and it was all good. But then when it came to designing the puzzles, he got Ilya Malentjevic to do pixel art and then converted those into puzzles, and not all of them worked as puzzles, and Jacob Ulk helped with the design of that. Graphics, Ilya Malentjevic. And music, Andrew Fisher, Hans Axelson, and Cyborg Jeff. I think I just got a typo for Hans Axelson before, but whatever. Anyway, he was also on the music for Millie Molly, of course. But we have a choice of soundtracks for this. So what it says down the bottom there is you can hit F1 like so. Was it F1? No, it's different ones. It's different function buttons. So F1 for Merman, F3 for Tom, F5 for Cyborg Jeff. Or TDM, actually, I think I read. So very different feels to these different soundtracks. We can try them out as we play a bit. Gibbons asking if I mean a floppy or a cassette. No, I mean a cartridge. I believe it was a cartridge. And there was a separate release that was a cassette, maybe. Yeah, as We're Gonna Lose says, the box with the chip that has got program burned into it. Yes, that's what a cartridge is. The Commodore, of course, did all three of those formats. Anyway, let's get into it. I've played a lot of Picross games before, so I won't have a problem with the rules here. But if you're not familiar, basically the numbers on the sides tell you which squares are going to be filled up in that row, and then it's just a logic game from there. You figure out what fits and what doesn't. Having only one fire button makes it a little tricky because it just cycles through. You change your position on the grid. It's pretty similar to the Game Boy Mario's Picross, as I mentioned, that Carleton started off with as the base. But that had two buttons, one for fill in and one for cross out. So in this, you just cycle through fill to cross, and that works fine. It's okay. Perfectly serviceable. So like that, no. My muscle memory wants me to press B to put crosses in these, but I'm like, no muscles. We only have one joystick button here. There were, as Gibbon says, add-ons for different types. So you might not have had the cartridge add-on for your C64. She also mentioned Dragon Stomper, but Bob is saying that was actually the Atari 2600. Good game, though. I've heard of that one. You know what? Let's go to... That's very cute. When they get bigger and more detailed, I think you have more room. don't fit pixel art. How do I go back, actually? Well, I don't know how, so I'm going to reset the machine. Yeah, I just wanted to check out the how to play section and see if they explain it well. I'm sure they do. The Sonic 1 Master System homebrew. Do I have that? Do you mean the fan hack that changes the Game Gear Sonic 1 to be on this Master System? I do have that. I'm not sure why you brought it up though, but yeah, do you mean something else? Yeah, when you say homebrew, is it a fan game that's from the ground up for the Master System? Oh, I see. So it's a full remake of Sonic 1 for the Master System on the Commodore 64. That sounds amazing. Yeah, it reminded me of, so Kiyoshi Sakai, the creator of Umihara Kawase, started out developing on the X68000, and he made a tiny little Sonic fan game on that system. Anyway, not really relevant, but anyway. Grid Pix is a logic picture puzzle in which you reveal an image by filling squares in a grid using the clue numbers provided. The numbers above and to the left of the grid indicate how many sequential solid squares are in that column or row, with at least one empty square between each sequence. Okay, these are always long-winded, so never mind. I just wanted to see how it is, and it's actually pretty, comprehensive going through this stuff. Great stuff. Oh, that's an important note, actually. I don't want to skip over that, but the last comment in this little tutorial is really important, I think, and part of the reason that he ended up rejecting some of the pixel art that had been made for the game when it was being converted into puzzles. So every grid has one unique solution and can be solved by logic alone. No guesswork is required. Good luck. So he does mention some of the puzzles requiring... Oh, it's lost my... Okay, well, in that case, I'll load my state from before. I will switch soundtracks now, so we're going to go to F3. Very moody. I like this one so far. Let's see. So we're going to lose... Yeah, anyway, the Sonic thing sounds really interesting, and I am curious to try it out, especially I've decided this year to try more Sonic games, get more into that series, so that might be part of it. Sounds great. Right, so we're going to ask me, so let me ask the question, how somebody that's living in the country where every single living creature, even kookaburras that would try to go for your fingers, are trying to kill you, went into the love with C64 and the games that were released on it. Well, first of all, kookaburras only go for your fingers if you're holding food, so just don't hold food. It's simple. Never eat. That's how you avoid that. But I think people overstate how dangerous it is to live in Australia. You never see dangerous animals in daily life, really. Sure, I had some redback spiders in the backyard the other day, but they're easy to avoid. It's fine. I would be more worried about living somewhere that had much more lax gun control about being shot every day of my life. So take that. Anyway. Just joshing ya. Anyway, we're more a danger to the native wildlife than they are to us, I reckon. But anyway, you asked a question, and your question was... Actually, before I address that, one thing I really like about this game is that it, unlike Mario's Picross on the Game Boy, it has the feature where it will automatically blank out the row or column when you've completed it. So if you look at the numbers 2, 2 on the left here, as soon as you have 2 and 2 in that row, it grays itself out. This is just a little auto-checking feature. Not even checking, it's just it automatically happens when you've put those inputs in. Just to keep it... like, I really appreciate how it visually removes the things that you don't have to pay attention to anymore, having completed that row or column. I find that a really good feature. It's optional on a lot of the E series games on 3DS, but I always turn it on. Because you could actually manually mark off the row and column numbers on the earlier Game Boy and SNES iterations, and yeah, I don't like that. I never bothered doing it when I played those versions. It was too fiddly, so I just relied on just looking more closely, which was a bit more restrained. Anyway, to address your question, yeah, I didn't answer. I'm getting to it. How did I get into the C64 and the games that were released on it? Well, I guess I would say that by doing my streams, my goal was to increase my knowledge and experience with retro games that I'd never gotten to experience firsthand before. Which meant that I was opening myself up to not just the C64, but all sorts of new systems and games, and experiencing and loving them for the first time. So the Commodore 64 is a great system because it was so popular, which means it got a lot of variety of games on it. I also am thankful to have the emulator Vice, which is quite good. That helps a lot with accessibility, to have a good emulator that's made well and easy to use. Not that it's the most easy to use thing in the world. I certainly have a lot more emulators that are a lot more user-friendly. But when I figured out how to use it properly, like, it made it a much more attractive prospect to check out the library. I can actually look at the list of ROMs I have here for things that I've played before. There you got like Alley Cat, Beaky and the Egg Snatchers that I mentioned before, Bionic Granny, Blueprint, the console port of the early Stamper Brothers arcade game. This is a Bubsy hack on top of... I don't remember the game that it was a hack of, but that's a fun one. The Doctor Who game, which I haven't got to try yet. The Elvira game that I don't think I played on stream. Got some Lode Runner's Rescue. That's a good one, actually. It's a 3D isometric game. When I played it last, there was a problem with it, and it was buggy and didn't work properly, so I really want to return to that one and give it a proper go. You know, what else have we got here? Yeah, there's Mule Sea Speller, the dolphin-based educational game, as well as the Dolphin's Pearl, a very fascinating and very complex dolphin-based game on the system, which I barely scratched the surface of. And Vixen is one I'm going to try later on. It's on my list. What's this one? Tales of the Cat. Yeah, okay. Anyway, that was a good way to check them out, actually, is just look at my ROMs folder. So back to the game. Oh, I've been using up my time. It's okay, it just counts up. Another improvement from the Game Boy and SNES versions, which counted down Felt very punitive. And when you made a mistake, which is not possible to do in this because this is essentially free mode, you would lose time, and if you got to that half-hour limit plus mistakes, you would immediately bomb out, fail that puzzle. They've gotten a lot more, user-friendly in a lot of ways since then. Also worth noting that the auto-checking feature that blanks out the numbers on the DS and 3DS games that I enjoy so much, it doesn't just... So, for example, see this is 2 and 4. In this rule set, if you fill a row with a 2 and a 4, it will blank out the row. But on the 3DS, the E series, if you've got 2 and then you put across that, it will grey out just the 2, and just the 4 will still be sort of an active clue. So it's not as completely friendly as it could be, but I appreciate what's there anyway. Okay, did I answer the question to your satisfaction? I don't know. I don't think I did, but I could waffle on more about that. Basically, like I said earlier, it's an era of gaming I never experienced firsthand, which means that I'm having to come into everything from a different perspective, where I have to do research and I have to get recommendations or just find games in certain categories that sound like they might interest me and just explore it like that. And I always have fun doing that kind of thing. The research phase of planning these streams is sometimes almost as much fun for me as actually playing them live. Well, it's a matter of degrees. Anyway. The list is pretty short, to be honest with you. What list is that? Do you mean the list of the games that I just showed you? Because that's just the... It's not the highlights of the system that I have. It's weird minor categories of games. Like I mentioned while I was looking through it, the occasions that I had to pick those games to play. Like the cat games, I did a stream just on games where you play as cats and what direction they took that, and how the different games would experiment with, control styles or mechanics that reflected you being a cat in interesting ways. Or the dolphin or mermaid streams, I always find those interesting because, again, the way that you explore an underwater space and how that impacts the gameplay, I find interesting. Or the selection of games that I found that were made by women in the 80s or that are starring women. I often like to do streams like that. Especially, I think next month is Women's History Month, I believe, somebody was saying. So I might do something for that, but I don't want to lock myself into it. I'm trying to do less occasion-focused streams this year. Gonna swap the music over now, by the way. Gonna get this jaunty tune by Cyborg Jaff now. Yeah, exactly. As Lee says, there are thousands of games on C64. I think there are more than 50,000 at this point, which makes it even harder to find good ones, I guess. But yeah, not to, sorry to disillusion you, but it's not like the C64 is a platform that I sought out and was invested in and of itself. The reason I was interested in it is because of, these certain games that fit whatever theme I was looking at the time that also seemed interesting. And because of the wide library, as I said before, there are a good number of really interesting games on there. Also, there's a fairly good chance if you want to play a game from this era, it might have been ported to the C64. So a lot of games that are also on Spectrum or like Atari ST or whatever, BBC Micro, I don't know, all those systems, all those computers for gaming. Like, they often had C64 versions because it was such a popular computer and a popular system. But yeah, 50,000 is incredible. That's a big number to wrap your head around. Oh, not that one. So another helpful feature is the sort of slight gray shading to mark out groups of 5. So, because this one's marked, I haven't really been explaining the rules of Picross. I don't know if people are interested in me doing that, but like, because this one was marked, this is 10, so all of these get marked. Because this is marked, you have to leave space for 5 on either side of it that could be potentially ones, but this is more than 5 spaces away, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so it's not this one, so you put a cross there immediately. In fact, I think 161 means that you can just fill this up, yeah. So in a grid of 10, 161 is an immediate, like, you don't even have to think. You just fill those in. And then it's just, yeah, the logic puzzle. This is what appeals to me. I find it very almost, meditative or relaxing, you could say, to solve these puzzles, because it's just this simple logic rules that you just play out the interactions with by looking around and checking the numbers, and then you slowly fill out the grid with fills or crosses, and I just find it infinitely satisfying. I really like this system of nonograms. I've even done some physical nonograms, just with pen and paper, which is a bit of a different experience than the digital ones, because it's harder to erase a mistake or something. I know the rules of the painting game, says we're gonna lose. Fair enough. Okay, last one. Oh, it's a fancy lad in a top hat. Amiga or PC. Zack McCracken and Maniac Mansion were released on C64. Indeed, they were. So a lot of DOS ports too, as you point out. Yeah, adventure games. Another area that I'm not too familiar with, but I've tried some out on stream before. Ooh. I like this jaunty little jingle. So by holding down the button and then moving across, you can fill them in more quickly like that, but it doesn't work for crosses, and I wish it did. Otherwise you'd do it manually like that. Now that I've crossed those out, these 7s, you can put extra ones on either end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so Jupiter is still doing Picross games. I bought every one of the E series they put out on the eShop on 3DS and played them. They're great. I really wish that their promotional rewards program exclusive installments would be given a wider release, but they never were. So they did Club Nintendo Picross and Club Nintendo Picross Plus, both Japan exclusive, featuring like crossover puzzles from a bunch of different Nintendo franchises. We never got it outside of Japan, and even if you're in Japan, you had to jump through some hoops with the rewards program to even get it. So I was always really angry about that. But anyway, they're also now doing... see, I've made a mistake somewhere here, because there needs to be one in this line. I see what I've done. So it needs to be this one, and then I can fill the other end there. Okay, it's 4:30. Well, I'll be back and enlighten you with the knowledge of the games of that era. Well, not today. I'm going to be finishing my stream in about half an hour. We will have a lot of things to talk about. Well, for your sake, I will try and do some Commodore 64 games in future. I'll pick out something fun that I've got on my list. I was going to play a DOS game next week, but now if you say that, then you're making me lean back to, yeah, the Commodore. Yeah, okay, I've got a plan. So yeah, I hope to see you again. Thanks for joining in with the stream. Okay. Yeah, so on the weekend I played a DOS strategy game called Jurassic War, and that got me in the DOS mood. And also for Korean-made DOS games, there's one that I came onto my radar late last year called Barbarian, that's a Donkey Kong Country clone, which, having well established my love of Slam Dunk Kong, the Taiwanese-made Donkey Kong Country kind of rip-off, Barbarian seemed right up my alley, so that's on my list. That's happening soon. Good. If you got stuff to say about DOS games, that's great too. I'm also thankful to have a fork of DOSBox that supports save states, especially for Slam Dunk Kong, which was a real laugh riot in its one-hit deaths and like tricky traps. Yeah, see ya. Thanks for chatting. It's been real. Is that a thing people say these days? Is that a cool thing that hip people say? I used to have a Tiny Toons poster despite never really watching the show. I think I got it from a bowling alley. I don't know, I might have made that up. I just remember that, you know, it was all the little characters and sayings that they would say. And one was the duck, the Daffy Duck, but he was green. The duck version for that show. And he was like an oddball kind of character, and his quote was, "It's been surreal," as a take on It's Been Real. This has been Memories from My Childhood Bedroom Door. Okay, let's go back to music 1. Merman. Oh, I started the next line. Maybe I'll go and do like one of the harder puzzles. See how things get when we're on a 20 by 20 grid. Or it looks like 15 by 15 for this one. It's the maximum one. Okay. Yeah, I can't wait to play Barbarian. It looks really strange. But I talked about playing Lord of the Rings games recently. I've just this morning I finished playing the Hobbit PS2 game off stream. was weighing up whether to play the GBA game on stream, the GBA version of that, but I don't think I will. But there's plenty of other places to go with Lord of the Rings stuff that should be interesting. J2ME games, bootleg GBA games, even a couple of Flash games. Possibly the SNES game. A bunch of PC games too, mostly text adventures. I was ruling those out. Yeah, that's the reason why these homebrew games are interesting, exactly. As Given says, it's really neat seeing a lot of the games with more modern design sensibilities on C64. Exactly. So what we're going to do is skip right ahead to a puzzle. Oh no, I can't. It only unlocks them one by one. And there is no save system, which is why I lost my progress before I realized. It gives you a password at the end of every puzzle. And that's all the progress you have. But yeah, like, this is, like I said, using some of the more modern rules or design, quality of life things that the later Jupiter games use. And having them on a system that is comparatively so primitive is really cool. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could just zone out and play these for hours. That's usually what I do when I pick up a new Picross game, is I play it exclusively and like in long marathon sessions. Just zoning out and Picrossing all day. Not all day, but yeah. Oops. What have I done here? That's not that, but that. Yeah, that works. This kind of puzzle I find much easier than the platforming puzzle that I was having to do in Millie and Molly. Should I go back to that? What's the time? I should show you some Advent. This is really cool. I'm glad this exists very much. I could do a stream that's just this, but I'm not gonna do that. Ta-da! Snake. Have I looked into Spectrum Homebrew? No, not really. Yeah, like, as far as retro homebrew stuff, this stream and the last stream is, I guess, the most I've ever looked into it. I definitely have played some before, but yeah, not Spectrum. I will note that on my previous, or last week's stream, where I was mostly doing NES homebrews, one of the things I played was the Mohon Twins. What was it called? Gran Sabiduria 31-in-1 games, which was a collection of homebrew demos and stuff. And some of them, including my favorite of the collection, Zombie Calaveras. Or Zombie Calavera. I don't remember if that was the S on the end or not. Anyway, that was originally, and I confirmed this after the stream, that was originally a ZX Spectrum homebrew, but they converted it to a NES version, also adding in another playable character, Maria, who I enjoyed playing as, for the bootleg collection. So technically, I played through a whole ZX Spectrum homebrew last week, except that it had become a Spectrum to NES conversion. So I don't know if it really counts. Oh, no, this one. And that. The logic chains, you get one and you lets you fill the next one, and you're like, if this is this, then that is that. I just love that stuff. So what do you recommend then, Bob, if you're familiar with some Spectrum homebrew stuff? Is there anything you would particularly point to for me to try? I'm keeping this open for possibly more streams in this series. I know on the Umihara Kawase fan Discord the other day, we were looking at, well, Umihara Kawase fans are always looking at new games that might be similar to it, because we're kind of a bit starved for content. We did get Fresh and Bazooka recently, but that was, you know, a couple of years ago, and now we want more. Anyway, yeah, some recent examples have been like Webbed, and I can't think of any others, but one that was brought up was a Game Boy homebrew called Sushi something. Hang on a sec. It's in my spreadsheet. What was it called? Wow, where did I put it? Hold on. It's in here. Sushi Nights. So that's very recent. Sushi Nights with a grapple mechanic. You play as a fish, I think. Or a frog? I forget. Anyway. That's one I almost included on this stream, but then I realized that Carleton Handley had enough homebrew games to fill a whole stream, really. And I've just done that, and that was good. I think that has worked out pretty well. Not to, you know, judge a stream before we've even finished it, but we're nearing the end. Yeah, what's the time? Yeah, I might, this might be the last puzzle for this Grid Pix run. Thank you for indulging me just playing one of my favorite genres on stream here. Because like I said, I can play these games all day. Let me see. So Bob suggested, he says, the biggest thing I'd call out is Castlevania Spectral Interlude, which sounds really cool to me. Castlevania fan games can be pretty rad. I did a kind of mini series of them, not last year, the year before. So yeah, a Castlevania game on the Spectrum sounds like it could be pretty cool. In fact, I'm gonna make a note of that right now. Spectral Interlude. Kind of reminds me of Bloodstained Circle of the Moon. No, not Circle of the Moon. Curse of the Moon, which is essentially a modern homebrew, although not made for an old system, just in the style of an old system. So they're like 8-bit accompaniments to Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. A pair of games by Inti Creates, who are kind of making that their thing. Well, they've got a couple of things, which is nice. One of their things is these modern retro likes, Blaster Master Zero, Mighty Gunvolt Burst, things like this, Curse of the Moon, as well as doing the higher res pixel action games with their Gunvolt stuff. Well, of course, they also have Galgun, but I really don't like Galgun. I really don't like it. Okay, so that was the first 17 puzzles of Grid Pix. There's 100 of them there for you to try if you're into it. $3 US on itch. Or get the physical one for a lot more and play it on your real Commodore 64. Now what I'm going to do is load up the spin-off of this. So Carleton Handley put out for free in November of 2020, same year as Grid Pix Advent. And I do have the record of my password on stream, but I also made a save state, so I can go back to that later in my own time. Yeah, I was just looking at the website for Spectral Interlude, and it looks really cool. I like what they've done with sort of dithering the different colors to... It looks very Spectrum-ish, if you're familiar with the system and the way it looks. It looks cool. Is it... What format is it? Is it level-based or is it exploration-based? Started as a demake of Castlevania 2. So, yeah, sounds like... Yeah, they say RPG elements. So yeah, sounds like it's a bit like that exploration-based kind of thing. Right, Grid Pix Advent. Let me see what the credits say. Pretty similar. So, the word I got about this is that the first two puzzles are very easy, but it gets harder after that. But that's often the case with these kinds of games. And yeah, people in the comments were saying, oh, you know, they played this as an advent calendar, one per day during the Advent season. Well, not the proper church Advent season, but the Advent calendar season where you start 24 days before Christmas. It's a little bit different in the actual liturgical calendar. What's this one? A star, I guess? I haven't been doing that during this playthrough because that's not usually how I play Picross games, but trying to guess what the picture's going to be as you do it, I can be a fun way of engaging with it, but not one that I usually do. So let's try it. So we've got a line. Okay. Keeping in mind that it's Christmas themed, this could be a wreath, but probably not. Now we've got two lines joined together. This is filling out, so it looks like a letterbox. A Mario pipe. Oh no, we filled that in. What is it now? A stocking? No, that's not it. A chimney! Ah, of course. Yes. Again, we're only unlocking one at a time here. So if there's 8 in a row, you can fill in automatically up to like 2 short of the end, because any position that the 8 is in this column, these ones are always going to be filled in, and then the edges are the indefinites. Right, I'm going to switch over the music. So it seems like it's the same music tracks that were in the other Grid Pix. Been reproduced here in Advent. No Christmas themed, no Crimbo tracks. Yeah, we said before that 161 is an automatic filler. There we go. So what's this going to be? Perhaps a Christmas pudding? No, that's not it. Also, it's a little feature, but passing the cursor from one end of the grid to the other, like scrolling, no, flipping. What do you call it in Pac-Man, where you can exit out one side of the screen and then you come in the other? What's that called? What's the name of that mechanic? I've stumped. Wrapping. Yeah, that might be it. Screen wrapping. Yeah, sure. That sounds good to me. Sounds plausible. Oh, maybe this is a wreath. I said wreath before. It's either a wreath or like a bauble. Yeah, there you go. I am the Christmas champion. It's because I've seen Muppet Christmas Carol so many times. Okay, what I can do is this, and then do. Yeah. Didn't quite get there today. Oh! Oh! I figured out how to do multiple crosses. Okay. Right. So you fill it in, you press again, and then while still holding, you move. So it's possible. I didn't give this game enough credits. Very pleased indeed. This really has everything. Except for, you know, per number graying out, but that's not a big deal. It's even like the Jupiter games consider per number filling in to be a hint feature in some installments. I think. Might be wrong about that. Yeah, Gibbon says that she's honestly surprised more platformers don't make use of screen wrapping. Kid Icarus did, but I'm trying to think of any others. Viewer, do you know of any platformers that use screen wrapping as a mechanic? Oh, a card. Okay. I thought that looked like a butane lighter. But that's not very Christmassy. I guess there are a lot of candles at Christmas and you need to light them. A lighter is certainly more convenient than a taper, which often will just go out. But if you're lighting multiple candles, a taper is probably more convenient. The pros and cons. Let me see. Screen wrapping in a platform. I'm going to rack my brains about that. It's usually a single screen thing. If there's scrolling, it's only vertical. Kid Icarus of Myths and Monsters on the Game Boy had screen wrapping and horizontal scrolling, and that's just a no. That's a big no-no. That's just a headache waiting to happen. I did not appreciate that. So I played it for like 10 seconds and was like, whoa, that's weird. Platformer with screen wrapping. Mario Brothers Arcade. There you go. That did it. Like you say, there's got to be more, but I can't think of any right now off the top of my head. Gibbon says she saw a really clever use of that mechanic in a mobile game she kickstarted. Used it to do lengthy levels by having the screen wrap take you one floor up, allowing you to do the hold right and jump sometimes thing on a single screen. Taking one floor up, hold right and jump sometimes. Oh, I see. Yeah, hold right and jump, like an auto runner kind of thing, but on a single screen. So almost like imagine Blockheads that I was playing before that had the two kind of narrower views, but if you were one person and moving from one to the other. Yeah. I've seen like puzzle platformers that use that in like puzzly ways. Also, I thought of one just then, but I've now forgotten it. Screen wrap. It's gone. I don't remember. Oh yeah, that's true. Doki Doki Panic, Super Mario Bros. 2. Super Mario USA had that in vertical levels. Okay, I've swapped the music over one more time. Do another couple of puzzles and then we might wrap it up. Okay, Gibbons dropped a link for the mobile game. It's called Brave Bit. I'm gonna click that link. No, that's an ad. That's not what I wanted. Brave Bit, a challenging micro-platformer available on iOS and Android. That sounds really cool. Oh wow, the art style. It's very Limbo style. Oh wow, that's clever. I like this. Okay. It's exactly what Given described. Anyway. Oh, that's too bad. She says the creator sucked at marketing, so it never really caught on. Oh man. That's unfortunate. Control scheme becomes easier to use the more you do it. 1, 2 space, 1, 2, 3, 4. So block that out, which means fill that one in, which means you can't put one in the middle, so then there's 2 either side, and then that. There you go. Beautiful. Puzzles in action. I love to see it. Platformer with screen wrap. I'm sure I had something there, but it's gone. Oh, I know what it was. VVVVV. Hang on. VV. Which itself was a Commodore 64 homage in modern times. Not quite a homebrew, but it was very much taking the sort of color profile, that was a mistake, of the system and yeah, making a modern indie game out of it. That definitely had screen wrap sometimes. It was mostly flip screen, but then certain areas had screen wrap for puzzle purposes. So that was good. You would call it a platformer, even though you can't jump, but you can invert gravity at any time, which means you will fall towards the top or vice versa. Well, there's either normal gravity where you fall down, or you can change it so that you fall up instead, and that is a better way to say it. Hang on, didn't I just do this one? This looks familiar. I don't know what it is, though. A poinsettia? Is that Christmassy? It's a flower. Poinsettia at Christmas. I guess that's a tradition that we don't have here. Could be a British tradition. Given... Yeah, talking about Brave Bit, Given is saying, I really do think it's a great template for how to do something like Meat Boy on mobile, and not have it be an auto-runner like Meat Boy Forever. There's the original Meat Boy too, which was a Flash game, which had smaller screen sizes, but it didn't have that kind of flipping, scrolling thing. She wants to copy it someday. Might copy it someday. Yeah. Alright, well, yeah, okay, so this is going to be the last one. I'll do this and then that'll be the end of the stream for today. Because otherwise it's just going to be me playing Picross all day and I've run out of things to say. So, yeah. Any last things you want to say? Get them out. I'll be signing off soon. But I've really enjoyed this. Trying out some of Carleton Handley's work here. This guy's a, veteran coder for the system who's using his expertise to make these novelty modern games for the old system, which there is a market for, it seems. And even, with Millie Molly porting that to other systems, showing that it's not just the fact that it's on that system. The limitations introduced by that system can result in, you know, compelling designs or graphic styles or what have you. Whatever people find appealing in it, they do find appeal, which is cool. This has got to be a pudding, right? It's a hat. Oh, it's a beanie. Okay, sure. I guess in the Northern Hemisphere, Christmas is cold and you wear a beanie. It's very much the opposite down here. But I'm not going to bang that drum too much. All right. Yeah, thanks, Gibbon. It's been good having you in chat as well. Thanks to all who were here watching, chatting, or not. This music's too upbeat. I need a break from it. Was there anything else I wanted to say? No, I think I pretty much covered it. So thanks for joining me. This has been a good time. Go to carletonhandley.itch.io. I'll have a link for that in YouTube description if you want to check out these games. And that's all the games that he's put out so far. That's the complete list on itch. And yeah, if you're on Mac and you want a controller mapping keyboard software thing for using on any apps that don't support direct controller input, then Enjoyable 2 is the fork of Enjoyable that my spouse made, and you will have to compile it, or I think she said that you could like message her on Twitter or something and she would like send you the build that she just made of it. So yeah, that's a thing. Sir Kathy Wise is her handle. Oh, that's weird. I was just looking at my own Twitch rebroadcast there, and there was like a flickering thing on the screen where the screen moved around. Has it been doing that the whole time? Why is it doing that? Sorry about that. Also, I will point out that thanks to macOS Monterey and its choice to overly round the corners of windows, you can actually see in the bottom left and right corners. I'm capturing the window, but it's not a perfect square. There's like little curves on the edges of the corners where you can see whatever else is beneath it. So that just looks terrible. So thanks a lot, Apple, for another boneheaded design decision in your OS. Yeah, don't like that. Anyway, goodbye. Why is it flickering? If I'm gonna play more C64 games, I don't know. It's not that disruptive. I guess it's fine. Alright. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Have a nice one, and stay safe. Bye-bye.